right, peace and love, fam. Peace and love. This is Mario L. Bay, Impropria Personas Juris. I'm presenting myself, and also what I'm doing today is present information for the people. I'm going to get right to it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to lollygag around, and I'm not going to just mess around with this, all right? I'm going to get straight to it so people can see that the information is real, that us true Moors stand on love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and the civic-minded Moors that enforce law, that it actually works. All right, we have a lot of people out here that place negative information on Moors abroad. Now, are all Moors operating on the 5 principles? No. All right, and I can understand that. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to prove to you that Moors like myself that are not only civic-minded, but stand on the 5 principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, do beat charges that are implemented by the municipal governments. Again, I'm gonna prove it again. I mean, it is what it is with me. You know, people know this is what I do. All right. So for anyone that has anything else to say, check this out, and you be the judge for yourself. Okay. But let me put a disclaimer out there first. People, please do not try this information if you're not totally competent. And totally competent, in my opinion, is when you don't have to ask anybody anything about any of this. You just know what it is. Okay? So don't try to go out here and enforce law and you don't know, unless you're ready, you know, for the things that come with it. All right. With that being said, I'm going to start off. All right. Check this out, people. This is a website. Okay. This is a public website that I'm about to go through so you can see what's on their website in regards to the charges that were basically given to me. Okay. Now, what I'll do is this. I'll start at the top left right here. Okay. Now, before I start, if you go back to the RV Bay Hater Part 2 video that I put out for the people, it's a letter that I have on there basically letting the municipal government know that, hey, I will be traveling the entire Moroccan territories of North America, Central America, South America. It doesn't matter. I'll be exercising my rights to travel, in other words. So, long story short, the reason I'm saying this because I understand that there are imaginary borders that constitute their particular corporate states. Okay. For example, they would say that I live in the corporate state of Tennessee, which is near Memphis, the corporate city of Memphis. And it borders, according to them, the state of Mississippi, the state of Arkansas, and 6 other so-called states. But I'm closer to the corporate state of Arkansas and the corporate state of Mississippi, which is called the tri-state area. So you can go in and out of these areas all day, every day within minutes, you know, depending how close you are. We have a bridge that goes right across the Mississippi River and you'll be directly into Arkansas. And Mississippi is right on the border as well. So I mean, it can be 5 or 10 minutes. So like people are in and out of Mississippi and Arkansas, Tennessee every day, all day, every day, all day. So it's nothing new. Okay. My whole point is this. They have different rules and legislations in their corporate states. Now, remember, on the RV Bay Hater 2 video, I already let them know that I will be traveling all across. Okay. So long story short, I was traveling in what they call the state of Mississippi, okay, which is a part of North America. What they call the state of Mississippi, I was traveling and I was pulled over. So we'll start now. DeSoto County is a county within their corporate state of Mississippi, okay? This is the arrest information, all right? Right here, I was denationalized, and they labeled me Mario Jenkins. Okay, that's of course not my name. The date was April 11th, 2015. All right. The time was 9:51 p.m. and the arresting agency was South Haven Police Department. The total bond was $1,900. All right. Personal information. They say the arrest age, current age. That's not correct. Gender. It says city, Memphis, Tennessee 38106. Whatever that is, the zip code. It says the height. It has the weight. It has the color, and it has the color of hair and the color of eye. All right. Now what I'll do is I'll scroll down a little bit, and these are the charges. And I want you people to pay very close attention because I'm going to walk you through the charges. Now, it's this big fuss about people saying that rights of travel does not work when you enforce it. Well, it has everything to do with how persistent you are and how knowledgeable you are and having no fear. Okay? That's what it depends on. Just because you say something doesn't mean that, you got to remember we at war, and at war, there are no rules. At the end of the day, there are no rules at war. All right? Even though these people have oaths and they're bound to constitutional obligations. All right? You gotta get this. But what it boils down to is your heart, your knowledge, your persistence, strategy, and so on. All right? So we'll start at number one, the first charge. This is proof. This is proof again that I was charged with this, and I'll show you how it was dismissed as well. Okay, first charge, expired driver's license. I haven't had a driver's license in years. Actually, I went to the driver's license building or corporation, whatever you want to call it, the DMV. I went to that place years ago and actually told them and put it in writing that I didn't want that thing anymore. And it wasn't even suspended. Okay. I actually took a notch step down from a driver's license because I didn't want it. And I understood exactly the obligation that you're obligated to when having that in your possession. Okay. Contractually. All right. Number two, vehicle insurance law violation. Okay. Again, if you go back to my RV Bay Hater 2 video, I think I explained that as well as far as insurance. Now, again, my disclaimer, I'm not telling anyone not to have insurance on your conveyance, automobile, vehicle, whatever you want to call it. I'm not saying that. This is my story. Okay. Number three, tag expired, non-altered. So basically what they're saying is my tags were expired. They said I had none and they were altered. Actually, that doesn't even make sense because how can they be expired? You don't have any. So that means it wouldn't have been any tags on the car and they were altered. It doesn't even make sense. The lies they tell people. All right. Now, the reason that they're saying that the tags are expired because that's something they would say in their system. Okay. The reason they say there's none because I didn't have the state of Mississippi, the state of Tennessee, the state of New York, the state of Virginia, state of California. I didn't have that on my conveyance. Okay. Now, thirdly, they're saying that they were altered. The reason that they're saying they were altered is because I have Moorish plates on my conveyance, okay, which is registered in a private trust. All right. Number four, it says false information to officer. I got an idea of what that may means, but I stand on the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So there's no reason for me to say anything false. Okay. Secondly, the guy that pulled me over was a European male that's a private security guard for the city of South Haven, Mississippi. He's not an officer because he wasn't elected. Okay. So an officer is one that's elected. People, you gotta know this. If you don't know this, you're lost in the sauce, like I always say. Okay. As a matter of fact, I want to look up the word officer, so we can be right and exact as to what an officer is. You know, never assume anything. You have to deal with etymology when dealing with words and dealing with these people. Okay? Officer, coming out of the Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. The incumbent of an office, one who is lawfully invested with an office, one who is charged by a superior power and particularly by government with the power and duty of exercising certain functions. Okay? So you have to understand what an officer really is. Okay? It's not a private security guard for the mayor of a particular corporate city. All right? Now, we'll run back through them real quick. It says expired driver's license, vehicle insurance law violation, tag expired, non-altered, false information. Now, to me, this all sounds like someone is exercising their rights to travel. Okay, these are all telltale signs for someone that's exercising their rights to travel, because we have that right, people. You understand? We have that right. But again, you have to know how to enforce it. You have to be knowledgeable enough, and you have to understand strategy, understand their obligations. It's a lot to it. So I never tell people to go out and do this. I'm just giving you my story. All right. Now, what we'll do is we'll go to the next page. Right here, you can see again, this is a website. All right. It says April 11, 2015, DeSoto County arrest. It says, this arrest has been sealed or expunged. Okay. It says these charges were dropped or not adjudicated guilty. Okay. And right here at the bottom, it says noli pro se, but actually what they meant to put was noli pro se qui. And I'll go into that definition. Noli pro se qui, Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. A formal entry upon the record by the plaintiff in a civil suit or the prosecuting officer in a criminal action, by which he declares that he will no further prosecute the case. So that's what they meant to put noli pro se qui. Okay. Basically, it's the same thing. Pro se means to proceed. All right. Next, you see where it says dropped. We know what drop means. Dismissed. And it says adjudicated not guilty. Okay. So let's go into the word adjudicated or adjudicate. All right. Again, adjudicate, to settle in the exercise of judicial authority, to determine finally. Okay. So again, people, I wanted to go right into it to let you know that it was dismissed. Now, what I'll do now is I'll show you some of the behind the scenes things that I do that the people don't normally regularly see. Now, this is why they dismissed it. It wasn't just because I said, hey, I'm a Moor. I'm Moorish American. You're violating my rights. That's not the case, okay? It's because I have knowledge of their obligations and I enforce law. I don't ask them anything, all right? I demand, okay? And I'm going to give you some more advice, people. Don't sit out here and argue with these police out here, all right? Don't sit you wasting your time. Don't argue with them, you know. Accept the ticket, reserve your rights, and from there you fight if you're knowledgeable enough to fight, okay? Because back in the day, I used to fight them and argue till my face turned blue. I would cuss them out. I mean, I couldn't, you know, my mouth would be dry. You know, that's bull, all right? So there's no need for all that. Again, people, we see that it's been dismissed, all right? This is a public record, all right? Now, what I'll do now is this. I'll show you some behind the scenes things that we do or that I've done. All right. Notice that the arrest date was, I think it was April 11th. All right. Now, this is another thing that Moors have bad. They don't respond quickly. All right, they wait. They don't know who to respond to. They don't know who to write it, their affidavits to. It's ridiculous, okay? So Moors, you got to stand up. If you want to enforce law, you got to know how to respond quickly and let them know you're not BSing, all right? Now, again, this is what I'll do. I'll show you from Exhibit A to Exhibit C, I believe. I'll show you approximately some of the things that I've done, all right? I can't show you everything because it's like Exhibit P. It's a lot, and it'll be too much for this video to understand, just way too much, all right? So I'll just go from like A to C just to show you that, hey, it is what it is. This is what I do. This is why they dismissed it. And it did involve rights to travel, because you have some people that say that we can't do this. But for some reason, I do it, and it's dismissed. But anyway, let's do it. All right. Anytime I do my affidavits, I get highly spiritual, okay? Highly spiritual, and operate strictly on divine law, constitutional law, treaty, all right? This is what you call waving or flying your colors, okay? Anytime you have your seal, your flag, things of that nature, you're flying your colors, okay? And if you notice right here on this date right here, it was pretty much the next day. It was like the next day when I got at them. I didn't wait a week. I didn't wait 2 weeks. I wasn't confused. I knew exactly what to send them, when, to who, how, and so on. If you look right here, I got a 2-cent stamp, which is enabling me to be the postmaster, okay? These are the true stamps, the 2-cent stamps. I have my right thumbprint, and I have the date, okay, right here. So this right here can't be interrupted. I have my copies. It is what it is. I have my certified mailings. It is what it is. All right. It starts like this. It's an affidavit of fact, which is your truth on paper, Exhibit A. All right. April 12th, 2015. And it says, enclosed are international treaty violations involving human trafficking and corporate persons generating income and not reporting the information to the Internal Revenue Services. See, what people don't realize is this. You have these cases in these courts, right? And they don't pay taxes on these cases. They make millions and millions and millions of dollars, and they don't pay taxes on these cases. So people got to understand that they must be reported to the IRS. All right. You got to understand. That's why I tell people all the time, you have to understand everyone's position. Who is who? All right. Once you get that, then you can proceed. Then you can enforce law. Until then, sit your ass down. Okay. All right. Now, as we scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that's the file number. That's the actual certified mailing. Now, these are some of the behind the scene things, because people don't really know what they're doing out here. All right. So I'm just showing you a little bit. All right. Right here, it says Affidavit of Fact, Exhibit B. All right. Which is my second exhibit. And it's subtitled Criminal Complaint, Violation of Secured Constitutional Treaty Rights by Persons Working for or in Collusion with the City of South Haven, Auto Rescue, Al Williams Bail Bonding, Hernando County Jail. All right. This is the date right here. It says nunc pro tunc, which means now for then. Okay. Right here, of course, I'm going in. I'm not giving them jurisdiction by any means. I'm strictly in my proper person. Everything is right. Tennessee Republic. I'm dealing with land. The zip is exempt, etc. Now you got to ask yourself, why am I mailing it to this guy? Okay. It's being mailed to this guy. All right. That guy is the boss or the CEO of the city of South Haven. So why wouldn't I send it to him? Most people get afraid when you see titles such as mayor and governor and attorney general. These people are in these positions for a reason, okay? So this is who I'm sending it to, because I had an issue with one of his employees, which was a South Haven police so-called officer. All right. Now, right here, it's saying basically the things that I'm charging them with, because this is true. All right, we'll start the first one. Stop and frisk, hate crime, conspiracy, piracy, fraud, stalking, larceny, human trafficking, perjury, peonage, extortion, racketeering, ransom, kidnapping, theft of ancestral state, private property, violation of Title 18, Chapter 43, Section 913, impersonating government officials, engaged in act of denationalization, identity theft, maintenance of slavery. All right. Furthermore, I go into case law in regards to rights to travel. All right, because case law, it doesn't go away. It is what it is. If it's dealing with positive law, speeding, driving without a license, wrong place or no place, no registration, no tags have been held to be non-arrestable offenses. All right. Second, the right to travel, the right to mode of conveyance, the right to locomotion are all absolute rights, and the police cannot make void the exercise of rights. Third, traffic infractions are not a crime. Okay, remember, people, you got to have an injured party before it's a crime. You got to have someone sign an affidavit under oath stating that it was you that injured them. Okay, the peace has to be breached somewhere. It has to be a contract, and it has to be a crime. I mean, it has to be a real person that's accusing you. So that's what people don't understand. All right. The right of a citizen to travel upon the public highways and to transport one's property thereon, either by carriage or automobile, is not a mere privilege which a city may prohibit or permit at will, but a common right which he or she has under the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. All right. Now I'm going into international law, where it says United Nations Rights of Indigenous People. I go in on Article 6, where it says every indigenous individual has the right to a nationality. Okay. Article 19, states shall consult and cooperate in good faith with the indigenous peoples concerned through their own representative institutions in order to obtain their free, prior, and informed consent before adopting and implementing legislative or administration that may affect them. All right. Furthermore, I go into the Declaration of Human Rights, United Nations General Assembly, December 10th, 1948, Article 15, where it says everyone has a right to a nationality. And that's true. That's very true. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality nor denied the right to change his nationality. All right. I also go into more international law in regards to the Declaration of the Rights of the Child. Principle 3, every child shall be entitled from his birth to a name and a nationality, because you got to remember, anytime they arrest you, they always place you under that nom de guerre quasi name, so to speak. All right, or that birth name or that European surname, that all caps. That's what they do. That's how they generate finance or income from that being attached to the corporate birth certificate via Social Security. All right. Definition of ID card. All right. A card that gives identifying information such as name, age, and organizational membership about a person, who then carries a card and uses it to establish his or her identity, also called identity card. All right. Check this out. Amendment 4. The American Constitution, 1791, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Now, you got to remember, the Constitution is a written instrument. As such, its meaning does not alter. That which it meant when it was adopted, it means now. Again, that goes back to why they take oaths. Okay, they don't just take oath, they take it for a reason. All right. State police power extend only to immediate threats to public safety, health, and welfare, and I violated none of that because I didn't breach the peace with anything or anyone. All right. Where rights secured by the Constitution are involved, there can be no rule making or legislation which would abrogate them. So everything that I'm placing on this affidavit is sent to the mayor because he no doubt has a constitutional oath. All right. And it was sent to him. It was sent to him. And this is without a doubt. I don't play when it comes to enforcing my rights. You know, I love me. I love my people. That's why I'm showing this information right now, because there's so many people. You have so many agent provocateurs out here that's trying to sway you the opposite way of your nationality and your rights to keep you in what? Bondage. All right. So let's get to the end of the page where it says, I, Mario L. Bay, reserve the right to sue and place liens on all conspirators. Now, I don't just say that, I actually do it. Okay. And actually, I didn't even put this in a higher court. You can get stuff dismissed without putting it in a higher court as well. You just got to know how to do it. You understand? You have to know how to do these things. And if you look down here where I signed in red, which represents the live flesh and blood human being, divine being. And also you see my stamp where it says all rights reserved without prejudice or recourse, because I'm not being held liable for anything they're talking about. Okay. Beneath my nomen, you see where it says natural person, appropriate persona. I'm letting them know this is my status. It says ex relation, which is Mario Jenkins, that is the birth name. That's what they're charging. And also, if the bottom is showing the true territory without the zip. Okay. So people, you got to know. You got to know what's up. All right. You got to know what's up. This is what it is. It's real. So also, this is my cause of action. You know, I'm bringing the cause of action right here. And I'll just end it right here because I don't have to go any further. I've already proved it. I've already given you an example of what it is not.